Hi! On the Woodpecker today, I'm starting a pantry to store kitchen appliances. One of my neighbors wants to put a pantry right here to store kitchen appliances. By looking at the style of his solarium, I propose this. He likes the look, so I can begin to work on it. The very first thing I do is sort the wood by width. As a matter of fact, just like his walls, the pantry will be made with solid pine. First, I need to cut some wood. For now, I will only prepare the wood I need for the 4 raised panels of the sides. Now that it's done, I glue them 2 by 2. Here they are, the 4 first glue ups. Before the glue gets too hard, I scrape the excess. This will be nicer on my jointer's knives. While the glue is drying, I can surface more wood. All this will be for the top, bottom, and the central division. When I have one side straight, I rip the other side and finish the surfacing. All done. I just need to glue all of this together in panels. At the end of the day, I don't have a lot of spare clamps. The next day, I begin by ripping the panels a bit wider than what I need for the horizontal panels. All the wood for the 3 panels is here, but there's still work to do on it. Now that the wood is ready, I can cut the rails and stiles for the interior panels. When it's done, it's possible to cut the tongues at the end of the rails. Then the grooves can be cut on all the rails. And also the stiles. Now I can assemble one frame and measure the size of the interior panel. I don't forget to subtract a bit for the wood expansion. I put back the tongue bit and cut a tongue around the 3 panels. I always begin with the end grain, then turn the panel and continue cutting. Before I glue this together, I stain all the places that will be hard to do when it will be glued. With stain on the tongue, I'm sure there will be stain everywhere, even if the panel shrinks during the winter. When the stain is dry, I'm able to glue the frames. I begin by gluing rubber barrels inside the groove. Then I glue the frames. I only put glue where the rails and stiles meet. The panels don't have any glue on them. When I'm sure it's square, I glue another frame. Here are the 3 frames drying. The next day, I cut all the wood for the sides frames. I also begin by cutting the tongues on the rails first. But this time, the profile is quite different. When the tongues are done, it's time to cut the grooves. This is how this will go together. I really like this router bit set. It makes a very nice profile on the frames. But the stiles were not cut to the right length. With the dry fit of a frame, I can figure out the size of the panels and rip them to it. But I also need to take care of that. This also needs to be cut to length. Now it's possible to route the raised panel profile. I'm cutting this profile in several passes. This is the first pass. Look how much wood needs to still be taken away if you compare this to the final shape. To route more of the profile, I move the fence back a tad. In all, I make 3 passes to have the final shape. Here they are, but they really look better inside the frame. Before gluing this in place, I sand the raised profile. Just like for the interior frames, I'm going to stain only the hard-to-reach places. But staining pine is quite difficult. This is a cutoff with stain on it. You can see it's uneven. It's way better on this one, which I had previously applied shellac to, before staining it. So I will dilute some shellac and wipe it everywhere where I want some stain. In fact, it's only the raised profile and the edges of the rails and stiles. I wipe 2 coats like this. When it's dry, I scrub the shellac so it's smooth before receiving the stain. I only wipe the stain where I've put shellac. But I don't stress out if it goes past the shellac. I will sand it anyway later on. When the stain is dry, I can glue the side panels. Just like for the inside frames, the panels of the sides are not glued. They can move inside the grooves. Now I just need to wait for the glue to dry. Those frames are bigger than what I really need, so I need to cut them. With the side frames at the right size, it's possible to take care of the rest of the joinery. First, I need to sand the 3 inside frames. Both end frames will be like that. I need to trace where they go. Then I can route their grooves. I begin with the groove of the central frame. If you look closely, you can see that both sides are held together with clamps. I also added a stop. This way, I'm sure I won't go past my line. I still have 2 more grooves to cut. To make sure the grooves have the right depth everywhere, I pass the router plane inside them. In the end, I can see that the grooves were not that bad. But before I can cut the rabbet on the horizontal panels, I need to cut them to size. Then I can cut the rabbets. First one. There are still 2 more to go. All done. Here they are. But the bottom one is a bit too wide. I also need to cut part of the rabbet. Without this part, the panel fits perfectly. I just need to cut the other side now. But before going any further, I need to cut a groove for the back panel right here. Just like I did for the other grooves, I use the router plane to make sure the cut is even. It's time to take care of the remaining 2 panels. This is my first dry fit. Not bad. But the central panel and the top one are a bit too wide. They need to be flush with the back. I mark where I need to cut them. Before removing the clamps, I measure the width of the back panel. Now I can go to the table saw. I know here it's not that obvious because of the dust collector, but René is holding the other corner. When it's in place, I trace the final length and cut it. After another quick test, I'm convinced this will fit together. So we take this apart and I sand everything that will be inside the case. All the pieces are ready for the glue up. To glue this, I'm going to use slow set epoxy glue thickened with silica powder. On top of being a bit thicker, this will strengthen the glue. All I need to do is to spread glue inside the grooves of one side. Then I also spread glue on the end of the 3 inside panels and put them in place. When the 3 of them are in place, I repeat all this for the other side. Finally, we can put the other side in place and add clamps. Before leaving this to dry for 24 hours, I make sure that it's square. Now I'm ready to continue with the rest of the pantry. But to see this, you'll have to come back to the Woodpecker.